The benefits of taking risks. Are you ready to take a leap of faith? To take a risk that could lead to something bigger and potentially reward you? In this chapter, we'll look at the benefits of taking risks and how you can maximize your rewards while minimizing your losses. In this chapter, you will learn how to identify and evaluate risks, develop a risk-taking strategy, and understand your risk tolerance. My goal is to become a bold risk-taker who can confidently move forward even in uncertain situations. Now is the time to jump in and discover the many opportunities that await you when you decide to take the risk. Unlock your potential through strategic risk-taking. Why taking risks is essential to success. Understand your risk tolerance. Taking risks is a big part of success, but it's important to understand your risk tolerance and know when to take risks and when to avoid them. Risk tolerance is how you view risk and recognize the potential rewards and consequences of taking that risk. Different people often have different risk tolerance levels, and it's important to understand your risk tolerance to make the best decisions. To assess your risk tolerance, start by looking back at your past experiences. Have you taken any risks in the past? What were the results? Was it successful or backfiring? This will give you a good idea of where your risk tolerance is. Next, consider the types of investments you are making. Different investments have different levels of risk, so it is important to understand the level of risk associated with the investment you are making. Doing your research and gathering as much information as possible will help you understand the potential rewards and risks associated with different investments. Think about your attitude toward risk. Are you a risk taker, willing to take risks and accept the possibility of failure? Or are you risk averse and prefer to play it safe? Knowing how you view risk and how it influences your decision making can help you make the best decisions when taking risks. Overall, understanding your risk tolerance is essential to making informed decisions and taking calculated risks. Knowing when to take risks and when to avoid them is the key to success. Look back at your past experiences, research your investment types, and think about your attitude toward risk to better understand your risk tolerance. This will help you make smart decisions and take risks with confidence. Hazard identification. Knowing what risks you may face is essential to making smart investment decisions. There are various types of risks you need to be aware of, including market risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, operational risk, reputation risk, and legal risk. It is important to identify potential threats to your investment, such as global economic instability, geopolitical events, and any other factors that may affect the value of your investment. There are two types of risks: known risks and unknown risks. Knowing the different types of risks can help you identify hidden risks. Research is important in identifying risks. Stay informed of current events and macroeconomic developments, as they may affect the value of your investments. You should also research the company or asset you are investing in to assess its level of risk. Some industries are more risky than others. Look for warning signs that may suggest your investments are riskier than you initially thought. Be aware of changes in the company's market position or financial situation. Do your research and explain as much as you can about the company and its competitive environment. Pay attention to the regulations and laws that apply to the investments you are considering. These may change over time, and it is important to be aware of these changes to protect yourself from potential harm. By being informed and doing your research, you should be able to identify the various risks associated with investing. This information will help you make informed decisions and decide if the risk is worth it. Understand the costs benefits of taking risks. When taking risks, it is important to weigh the costs benefits. To understand the cost benefit, you must first assess the likelihood of a risk occurring and analyze its potential impact. Risk assessment. The first step is to assess the likelihood that a risk will occur. This may include looking at historical data or trends that may indicate that a risk is more likely to occur, or analyzing the current economic environment for factors that may make a risk more likely to occur. This will help you decide if it's worth the risk or if the risk is too high to avoid. Analyzing the potential impact of risks. After assessing the likelihood of a hazard occurring, the next step is to analyze the potential impact the hazard may have. Other potential losses must be taken into account here, including the financial loss you may incur, the damage it may cause to your reputation, the loss of productivity, and the cost of resources to mitigate the risk. Decide the cost-benefit of taking risks. After assessing the likelihood of a risk and analyzing its potential impact, you can determine the cost-benefit of taking the risk. Cost-benefit includes the potential reward versus the potential cost of taking a risk. By understanding the potential rewards, you can decide whether the risk is worth it or if it's too risky and should be avoided. Understand the costs-benefits of not taking action. It is also important to understand the costs-benefits of doing nothing. You need to consider the potential rewards you could miss out on if you decide not to take the risk here. Understanding the potential reward of taking a risk is essential to deciding whether it is worth taking the risk or if it is too risky and should be avoided. Develop a risk management strategy. In any business, there is the potential for risk. Taking risks can bring new rewards, but it can also lead to losses and disappointments. Therefore, it is important to have a strategy in place to manage risk. The first step in creating a risk management strategy is to redirect and avoid the risk itself. Depending on the situation, this may mean modifying your plan or giving up entirely. Knowing when to change course can be difficult, but it can be especially important when the risks outweigh the potential rewards. Another way to manage risk is to transfer it to someone else. This can often be done through insurance or partnerships. While insurance provides financial protection if something goes wrong, a partnership provides a way to share both risks and rewards. You can also mitigate your risk by taking preventive measures. For example, if there is a risk of losing money on a project, preventative measures might include setting a budget, establishing a schedule, and ensuring resources are available. Developing an emergency plan is also essential to risk management. A contingency plan is a backup plan that can be implemented if the risk becomes real. A contingency plan can help minimize losses if something goes wrong, and can also provide a way to get the project back on track quickly. When assessing risk, it is important to assess the potential impact. Financial loss, reputational damage, or loss of productivity are just some of the things to consider. This can help you make decisions about whether to accept or resolve the risk. Taking the time to develop and implement a risk management strategy can help you protect your investments and achieve your goals more effectively. Knowing when to avoid risk, when to transfer risk, and when to develop an emergency plan are all essential elements of a successful risk management strategy. Develop risk-taking skills. Taking risks is essential to success. Whether starting a new business or making a financial investment, taking calculate risks can help open up new opportunities. But you need to learn how to recognize when it's safe to take risks and when you need to be more careful. Start by understanding your risk environment and recognizing the risks associated with your decisions. Learning how to identify different types of risk will help you evaluate the potential rewards and consequences of every decision. Not only will this help you make informed decisions, but it will also help you minimize your losses. It is also important to understand your risk tolerance and ensure that you are comfortable with the risks associated with investing. Once you know your risk tolerance, you can evaluate the rewards and consequences of taking that risk and decide if it's a worthwhile decision. Once you are familiar with the risks involved, it is important to gather the right information and data to help you make informed decisions. Networking is an important part of this process, as talking to people who have made similar decisions can provide valuable insight. When taking risks, it is essential to develop strategies to manage them. Avoiding risk completely is not recommended, as it can lead to missed opportunities. Instead, take precautions to reduce the impact. Developing an emergency plan and understanding the laws that apply to your decisions can also help protect you from potential losses. It is also important to learn techniques to reduce the stress and anxiety associated with risk-taking. Taking the time to assess the situation, identify potential threats, and develop a plan of action can help you stay calm during stressful decisions. When taking risks, it is important to identify ways to limit your losses. Tracking your investments, setting loss limits, and utilizing safeguards like insurance and diversification are all good practices when taking risk.